Hello and welcome back to my weekly show where I talk about the ups and downs and in-betweens of selling on eBay. I've got a packed show for you today. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things, including how to get ready for Black Friday, make sure your store is up and ready, and how you can offer some promotions to increase your sales. We're also going to talk about what to do when an item gets damaged and you need to file an insurance claim to the post office, how to recover from vacation mode, and whether you can sell something even though it's on the VeRO list. I'll leave time codes in the description below so you can jump around to the different topics we're talking about today. Let's go ahead and jump into some viewer questions.
Hello, Justin. It's Mark from Hawkeye Treasure Trove.
Hi.
First of all, I want to say thank you for your YouTube channel. It's been a great help as I've built my eBay business. I also subscribe to Flipwise, and I found that to be a hugely beneficial product. So thank you for both your YouTube channel and for Flipwise. My question today is, how do you handle sales? I've done a couple different things. Sometimes I offer a coupon to the general public for so much off, or to specific customers, or sometimes I just do a sale for 2 or 3 days with a percentage off for a particular period. With Black Friday coming up next week, I'm thinking I want to match up with Amazon's Black Friday week and offer a discount, but I'm not sure which was the best approach, whether I go with a coupon for a particular period of time or offer a sale for a particular period of time. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure, Mark. Thanks for sending that along. It's a great idea. Perfect timing right now because Black Friday is coming up, and you can help boost your sales by offering all sorts of different promotions that eBay offers you as a seller on the platform. So happy to talk through those different promotional items and which ones I use and which ones I think are going to be best for Black Friday in particular. eBay there's like 5 different promotional vehicles they have that you can use for this. And by the way, this is only available for people that subscribe to an eBay store, I believe. And so if you don't subscribe to an eBay store, this is maybe a good reason to do so. The other good reason is that you get a higher allotment of quote free listings. Without a store, if you run out of free listings, eBay's going to start charging you insertion fees for every time you list or relist something. And so having an eBay store allows you a larger allotment of free listings and also different features and functionality like different promotions like we're going to talk through right here. Those promotions, there's 2 main ones. You mentioned both of them, coupons, and then I think they call them sale events. And then there's some other ones, I can't remember the names, like volume pricing, shipping discounts, and order discounts. Really for Black Friday, I think the ones you're going to want to be focused on in particular are either the sale events or the coupons. Now, sale events is just like reducing your price by some percentage amount across your inventory. And so you can go into eBay's promotions. I'll just pull it up right now so we can do it together. So this is all under the Seller Hub and under marketing, and you go into discounts and you can create a bunch of different discounts. So you can go to coupon, an order discount, sale event, shipping discount, volume pricing. Let's just do a sale event really quick here. So you can decide you want an amount off of each item or a percentage off of each item, and then you can change that percentage. Then you set the duration. So if you're doing like solely a Black Friday deal, you would just set it for this date in particular, and start times and end times as well. Then you can name it. This is not a public facing thing. You just name it internally. And then you can add the items. You can add specific items or you can exclude particular items. That's usually what I do is I go through and add all of my items, and then if there's for some reason, items that I don't want to include in the sale, I exclude those. And then you just launch this campaign and you're good to go. That's probably the easiest way. It's pretty effective as well. And so in eBay search results, it will say like this item has been reduced in price. If it was previously $100 and it's 20% off, now it's $80. It says 20% off, and it gives a little call out there. So it's a good way to target customers who are looking for a deal on Black Friday for sure. The second option here, you can go in and do a coupon. I'll just look at this. So a public or private coupon, you would probably want to do a public coupon. Private is if you're going to send it to one particular buyer. So a public coupon makes that coupon code available and visible on your listing itself and uses that as a promotional tool so that people can see that this item can be had at a discount. You can do a percentage off. There's a bunch of different types here. I'm not going to go through each of them. Percentage off, money off, things like that. Again, a start time and an end time. And then you can do a forward-facing code here. You can use this buyer-facing code. It is unique across all sellers, so it can't just be like Black Friday, but you have to put something that's unique in there. So sometimes like your eBay name or something, just some sort of unique coupon code there. And again, you can go through all inventory and select which items you want to have this coupon and which you don't want. Both of these promotional vehicles are going to be pretty effective for Black Friday. And I would hesitate doing both of these at the same time because I believe that they do stack. And so if you're offering 20% off, your entire inventory along with a 10% off coupon, those would stack, and a user would be able to use both of those. And so it might be more than you want to offer, but maybe you can do 5% and 5%. I don't know, it's something to try. Definitely want to run some experiments on this type of thing and see what's going to work best for you. The other two are going to be less effective for Black Friday. I think they're shipping discounts. So you can say like if you spend over a certain amount of money that you get your shipping for free. That could work out really well if you sell like the same stuff. If you sell nothing but jeans, for example, that could make sense. I sell across all categories, and so I wouldn't want someone to pick in a very heavy item along with some other stuff and then get free shipping. It could end up hurting me if I did that. So I probably would not use a shipping discount. Order discount, volume pricing, for example, is if a buyer buys X number of something, then they're going to get a discount as well. Again, those may be effective, but I think they're going to be less effective for a sort of big sale event like Black Friday. You want to target people with something that's kind of in their face, something that says this thing has been reduced in cost, or use this coupon that says Black Friday on it to get a discount on the items in your inventory. Those are going to be your best bet for Black Friday. Did I answer your question? I don't even know if I answered your question, Mark. But yeah, I will definitely be running some Black Friday sales. I'll probably start mine on Thanksgiving and let them run through Saturday. Definitely give it a shot. I think you will probably see a pretty good boost in sales if you offer some promotions on Black Friday. People are just out there looking for deals, and take advantage of it for sure. All right, let's jump into my sales for the week. I'll be answering more viewer questions sprinkled throughout these top 10 sales, so stick around for those. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comment section below or check the description for a link to leave a audio or video question. Looking at my sales for the past 7 days, looks like I had 1,666. Gosh, 666 keeps popping up in my store over the last 3 weeks. It's kind of scary. Should I be worried? I've got net sales of $1,007, so really great to see. Over $1,000 in net sales this week. Really good to see there. Looks like my average gross per sale was $43.85, and my average net per sale is $26.50. My all-time average net per sale is right around $21 or $22, so I'm selling some more valuable goods this week. My net profit margin was 60% for the week. Looks like most of the stuff was sold from garage sales. $194 was spent on new inventory over the past 7 days, and $178 for cost of goods sold, which is basically the purchase price of everything that's sold for the past 7 days. Whereas spent on new inventory is the purchase price for everything purchased in the last 7 days. Marketplace fees, $225, and shipping label fees, just over $250. Only had 24 new listings, so a little bit lower than my goal of 35, but 38 sales, so pretty good sale week here. Less than a day is my average time to list, so I'm keeping stuff out of the death pile, and 4 months is my average time to sell, just over 500% for my return on investment for the last 7 days. Coming in at number 10 is this Tumi jacket. This is a down puffer coat. I got it at a garage sale, I think for $5, less than a month ago, or about a month ago. $46.98 for the sale price. That's $39.99 plus $6.99 in shipping. Cost to ship ended up being $7.17. My net return for the 10th best flip was $27.93. Tumi is a really good brand. TUMI. It's got a red logo. This was just a no-brainer. $5 at a garage sale. Really good shape, and a puffer coat. From a great brand. Coming up on the wintertime, you just pretty much know it's going to sell. So, and this one did in about a month. Also, a jacket coming in at number 9. Vintage Pro Player St. Louis Blues reversible jacket. So this thing would zip down. You could reverse it, and it would have a different design on the other side. I picked this one up at a St. Vincent de Paul 2 months ago, looks like, for $10. It sold for $54.67. That's $44.68 plus $9.99 in shipping. The net return was $29.60 for the 9th best flip of the week. Only $6.87 to ship. That's because I sold it right here in St. Louis. I'm from St. Louis, sold it to someone in St. Louis. A little bit cheaper to ship there. Any vintage sports puffer coat is going to be pretty good, especially from a good brand. This one was from Vintage Pro Player. That's what it's called. But Starter's another obvious one. These do really well. Pretty good little sale for the 9th best flip of the week.
Hey Justin, I love your videos.
Thanks.
I watch them every Monday, and I can't believe you give them for free. I have a question on item comps. I was checking the comps of something in a thrift store once, and it had like 120 listed, but only 30 or so sold in the last 90
Okay.
days. And so at first I thought, well, this isn't going to sell fast enough. But then I saw that of the ones sold, pretty much all of them had real photos. And of the ones listed, very few of them did. They were using the stock photo that eBay lets you use sometimes. And there were a few listed with real photos, but not that many.
Okay.
And so I'm wondering, does that mean that the comps on that item were actually good? And is there other features like that that you look for that shows that buyers are looking for something specific like that before they buy? Thanks a lot, and look forward to seeing your next video.
Yeah, thanks, Micah. Thanks for sending that question along. It's a good one. So you're asking, basically, you looked an item up, you're at a thrift store, you see that it has 120 active listings. Then you check the number of sold listings it has to see its sell-through rate and see that it has 30 listings sold, and sales history goes back 90 days on eBay. So seeing 30 basically means a person comes by on average once every 3 days to buy that item, and there's 120 actively listed. And so if no more were going to be listed and it was just going to sell out of that existing stock, it would take it's like 360 days for that entire stock to sell out. So basically a year. That's if no more got listed, just based on the average sell-through rate. Not a perfect calculation, but that's sort of what you can expect. Not a super great sell-through rate. Really just depends on a lot of factors that are specific to you as a seller. Sometimes people are okay with lower sell-through rate items because they have a larger storage area, or maybe it sells for a lot of money and you don't mind sitting around a little bit longer and storing something for a longer period of time if it's going to sell for more money. But depending on what that item was, 120 active and 30 sold is not the worst, because it doesn't mean it's going to absolutely take 360 days to sell. You just never know. You never know what buyer is going to come along. Your pricing has a big difference. And to your point, like your listing makes a big difference in standing out amongst the competitors. And so if a majority of the competition is using nothing but a stock photo, that could be a good sign that you could stand out by not using a stock photo, because stock photos in theory are a good idea because, hey, here's a great looking photo for your item, but it can be dangerous to use stock photos on eBay. Some brands allow it, some brands don't allow it. Sometimes your listings can get taken down if you use stock photos. So definitely be careful using stock photos in the first place. But also, buyers just want to see what they're going to get. So if you do use a stock photo, you also want to use a real photo of the item that you have in your hand so that buyers know exactly what they're going to get. This is especially true if you're selling a used item. So I don't know if the item you're talking about was new or used, but if it's used, and really most people are not using actual photos, I do think you can stand out and get your items to sell quicker by using a real photo so buyers know what they're going to get. But you're definitely thinking the right way. You're thinking about more than just sell-through rate when you're trying to determine whether to buy something to resell or not, which is the right thing to do. Lots of different factors go into whether something is going to sell or not, or how quickly it's going to sell, and you're thinking of the right things. And so keep thinking that way. That's a good strategy to have. But personally, if I saw this item and it was going to produce a pretty good net return and there was 120 active and 30 sold, I would probably buy that. That's not a terrible sell-through rate for me personally. I have a big storage area. I don't mind hanging on to things for a longer period of time. And if I did see evidence in the sold comps and active comps that would suggest that mine might sell quicker, even better. So I would probably pull the trigger on that one, not knowing exactly what it is, but I would probably buy it. Coming in at number 8 of these Doc Martens. These came from a garage sale for $4. 7 months ago, they sold for $51.99. That's $42 plus $9.99 in shipping. Actual cost to ship was $7.67. The net return for the 8th best flip of the week was $32.07. Dr. Martens a great brand to look for. These were vintage from the 90s, so even better. Not the most valuable boots I've ever sold by any means, but definitely a good sale for $4. I did have to let them air out for a while just because they did have they're boots, used boots, so they come with some sort of stench, but these smelled a little bit weird. I let them air out for quite some time. And when I sold them just a few days ago, I couldn't smell anything distinguishable at all, so I think that they were pretty good to go. Pretty good for the 8th best flip of the week, these Doc Martens. Coming in at number 7 is this Montclair black hoodie. Montclair is a really, really good brand. This is the only Montclair thing I've sold before. Less than a day it took to sell, only 16 hours for $61.99. That's $55 plus $6.99 in shipping. In reality, this hoodie was many hundreds of dollars new, which is sort of crazy. But this one did have some flaws, so I did price it down. It did not have the little strings that come down out of the hoodie, and there was also some pinholes on one of the sleeves. So I disclosed all of that and priced it well. 16 hours to sell, so pretty quick. I maybe should have charged a little bit more than I did, but that's okay. Net return of $38.92 for the 7th best flip of the week on this Montclair men's hoodie. Anything you find from Montclair, you definitely want to pick it up. But as with any luxury clothing brand like this, you do have to be careful of counterfeit pieces. This one came with a tag that had a hologram on it that could be scanned to see if it was real or counterfeit, and I was good to go. So, but be careful. Look for that little hologram.
Hey, Justin, Mindy here. Hi. Thanks again for creating Flipwise. It has been an absolute game changer for my business. Question for you with regard to your latest video. You said you sold a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. I have a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses that I wanted to sell, but I checked the VeRO list on eBay, and Ray-Ban is on that list. So just wondering how you were able to get around that. Thanks so much.
Sure, Mindy. Thanks for sending that question along. And so VeRO is the Verification Rights Ownership Program or something like that. I can't remember what exactly it stands for. This is eBay's program that allows rights owners to monitor the listings on eBay and have them removed if they go against copyright violations, trademark violations, or all sorts of other reasons. But just because a brand is on the VeRO list does not necessarily mean you can't sell it. And each brand on there is going to provide a list of guidelines of what you're allowed to sell with regards to their brand on eBay. And so you can look at the Ray-Ban one. Let's take a look at it really quick here. So you'll see here, it says Luxottica Group, which I guess owns Ray-Ban. I didn't know that. Is a member of the eBay VeRO program and the owner of the Ray-Ban family of trademarks and all associated intellectual property rights. They go on to say here, why was my auction removed? Could be because it's counterfeit. Why was my auction removed while many other auctions offering similar? It doesn't, there's all sorts of stuff here. Can I legally sell counterfeit? No. It says, may I use Ray-Ban images? No, you can't use Ray-Ban images, so you can't use any Ray-Ban stock photos. Yeah, and so you just look at this, and for Ray-Ban in particular, they don't want you to use their stock photos, and they don't want you to sell counterfeit items, but you can still sell Ray-Ban on there. So each brand on the VeRO list is going to have their own list of guidelines like this. So just because it's on the VeRO list doesn't mean you absolutely can't sell it. It just means that there's some restrictions with how you can sell it. So, but it also can mean that you can't sell it at all. So you just require some research there.
Hey, Justin. Thanks for all you do. Love the videos.
Thanks.
I have a question for you. If someone wants to start selling on eBay, should they use a long-standing account that has only been used as a buyer account? Or should they start a completely new account to keep the selling and purchasing separated? I'm not sure if the account being old or new has any benefits or drawbacks for a new seller, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.
Sure, Mallory. Thanks for sending that along. So your question is, if you have an older account that was used for buying only, should you use that account for selling as well? Or should you create an entirely new account for selling? Personally, I would go with your old account. An aged account is a good thing as a seller as well. You probably already have some feedback accumulated there as a buyer, and the feedback numbers just don't distinguish between whether you're a buyer or a seller. So the number goes up regardless if it's a feedback from being a buyer or a seller. And then it's just, I think it adds to legitimacy to your account for buyers that care. If they look and see this account was created in 2015 versus 2024 with zero feedback, those give different impressions on your potential buyer. So most buyers are not going to notice or care necessarily, especially about the age of the account, but some will, and it'd be good to have that older account. More buyers will notice if you have zero feedback, and so starting off with, say, 200 feedback from being a buyer is better than starting off with zero. Downsides, I don't really think that there are many downsides there. The only thing I would consider is once you get to be a large enough seller, when I go and buy expensive things on eBay, I use my second buying account, just because if there's a problem and I have to return that item, I don't want that buyer retaliating and looking and than buying something from my store and then, turning around and doing a return on it. It's never happened. I'm probably overthinking it. It probably doesn't happen that often, but I like just to keep my big eBay purchases separate from my main selling account, just in case. Hopefully that makes sense. Coming in at number 6 is this Kate Spade purse. This one came from a Savers for $13.50 7 months ago. It sold for $74.98, $59.99 plus $14.99 in shipping. This is one that my wife picked up. I wouldn't have known whether this was a valuable purse or not. Look at that picture. Really good picture. My wife is it's kind of a running joke at our family of how terrible of a photographer she is. So when I saw this one sell, I saw the picture. I was like, hey, honey, it's a great looking picture. It really is. Look at that. Almost looks like a stock photo. Anyway, what was this? 6th best flip of the week? Yeah, 6th best flip of the week, $74.98. The net return, $40.82 as a 302% ROI on this Kate Spade purse. Not a bad little flip. Coming in at number 6 are these Francoma pottery dinner plates. How about these at a garage sale? Big box of lots of Francoma pieces from the same set. These were scalloped dinner plates, though. These sold for $69.98. That's $54.99 plus $14.99 in shipping. Looks like we also sold some dessert plates as a part of the order to the same buyer. That was a completely separate order. Yeah, those went for $29.98. So those were combined. This is not the combined price. This is just for this listing in particular. 5th best flip, $49.53. This one is doing a lot better than I thought it was going to. We saw the box of all these Francoma pieces for $50 and hemmed and hawed a little bit because the sell-through rate, a lot of them sell, but there's so many listed. But I think we've done pretty well on them. Let's see. If I look at everything that's sold from this here, yeah, so $50, like just on that one set right there, we netted $50. So everything else put us above our investment. And yeah, looks like we've probably doubled our money at this point on this investment. So pretty good.
Hello, Justin. First of all, thank you for providing your decades of knowledge on this app, because without you, I likely would have had to learn things the hard way. I just started selling a month ago. I have 25 sales and just over 100 items. My goal is to net $1,000 a month or more. I sell the same things you do, a little bit of everything, a good chunk being clothing and shoes. I have 2 questions for you. The first is, I've heard darn near every reseller advise to list new things daily, even to set a daily listing goal for yourself so eBay knows you're an active store. My question is, let's say your listing goal is 3 per day. Does it make a difference if you actually list 3 items per day, or can you list 21 items one day and none the rest of the week? Will eBay understand the difference and still consider you an active store? My other question is, at what point would you recommend a new seller to subscribe to the eBay store? Is it really just whenever you have to list more than 250 items a month, or is the ability to have coupons and promotions and priority customer service really worth it? Thanks again.
Yeah, appreciate you sending along that question. Those are good ones. So first, I'll address the first question, which is, what was it? I don't even remember what your first question was. You're asking, does eBay like active sellers? I believe they do. They don't say outright. There's no documentation that says you have to list every day or else we'll ignore your store. So there's not a perfect answer. I'm speculating a lot when I talk about this, but in my experience, eBay definitely likes it when sellers are active. And my preference is to be active on the platform every single day. If I can't list new items every single day, then I find some way to be active on the platform, whether that's answering messages, sending out offers, responding to offers, ending and relisting items, or listing entirely new items, which is really good as well. So, but I wouldn't overthink it too much. And so if you can list every single day, I think that's preferable. If you can't list every single day, you can only list on the weekends. I think it would be better if you scheduled those listings to go live throughout the week instead of dumping them all on the weekend. Whether it's going to make a huge difference or not, I think you'll want to experiment and see. Personally, it feels like it makes a difference on my store. If I just list 21 things on a Sunday and then nothing else the rest of the week, I find that my sales feel slower and more stagnant. But there's no rigorous data and testing behind me saying this. It's purely speculative, anecdotal, and you want to just do those types of tests on your own. And your second question, I already answered that kind of earlier in that other question. Is, when do you know when to upgrade to an eBay store? Again, I'm not going to go too deep into it because I talked about it before. But yeah, the biggest reason is if you're going over your allotment of quote free listings. You'll know this when you start paying a lot in insertion fees. And if you're paying more in insertion fees than you would be in a monthly store, that's when you would want to go ahead and upgrade. But you do get access to other benefits and features such as the coupons and other promotional vehicles like that. You also usually, I think at certain tiers, you get coupons from eBay to use on shipping supplies like boxes and bubble mailers and things like that, tape. Coming in at number 4, this is one of my favorite garage sale finds of this past year. These are Ralph Lauren Polo wooden coat hangers. I ended up selling these in lots of 10, but you'll see here that I've got six total lots because there was about 70 of these in a box that I bought for $10 and just an incredible price. And just one of these sets of 10 sold for $82.48 and netted $54.54. So if I'm netting $54 per set of 10, that means I'm going to net in total about $300 off of this one garage sale find. So really, really incredible. All they are coat hangers, nice coat hangers, but just coat hangers. Really good find at a garage sale. About 2 months to sell these. And it'll probably take a while to sell, but that's okay. Still, 300 plus net on the full set is pretty incredible. Coming in at number 3 are these Maui Jim Sport Lighthouse sunglasses. These came from a bulk buy. They took 13 days to sell. I've got $6 into them, and they sold for $85.67. That's $78.68 plus $6.99 in shipping. The net return for the third best flip of the week, $63.49. Maui Jim sunglasses do really, really well. These were in excellent shape. They had the case and they had an unused cloth. So I was able to increase the price just a little bit because of that. Third best flip of the week, Maui Jim. I definitely keep an eye out for Maui Jim sunglasses now. They do really, really well.
Hey, Justin, my name's Joe.
Hi.
I've owned an eBay store since 2005.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, you mentioned something about vacation mode, how it's a bad idea, which I agree with. And you said later in the video you'd follow up and mention some things to get going again after being on vacation. And maybe I didn't listen too well, or somehow I missed it, or maybe I misunderstood you, but I didn't see where you followed that up. So if you could maybe even dedicate a video to vacation mode or the alternatives to vacation mode, that'd be great. Thank you so much for everything you've done. Bye.
Sure, Joe. So I don't know that vacation mode is necessarily a bad idea. It just, if you go on vacation, you do need to do something with your handling time. Vacation mode makes it easy to change your handling time basically across all of your listings by just enabling vacation mode and providing the dates that you're going to be gone, and then eBay takes care of the rest. You can, adjust your handling time separately, not turning on vacation mode. I personally have never done that. Some people say that it's better. I don't know. I just don't really have that big of a problem with vacation mode. It does lower your sales while you're gone, but that's mostly because your handling time is higher. And so buyers come across your listings and they see they can't get it right away, and so they move on to one where they can get. So whether you use vacation mode or you adjust your handling time separately, it is basically going to produce the same results. Buyers are still going to get their items more slowly, and they may be less likely to buy because of that reason. So I typically see just a drop in sales when I have vacation mode on. And when I do get back from vacation mode and turn vacation mode off, I do go through a couple different steps just to get my store flowing again, because it does sometimes take a few days for the store to kind of pick back up again. Typically what I do is list a bunch of new stuff. So I usually have, handful of things that need to be listed. So I go through and list all those new things, as many as I can as soon as I get back. And then I will usually also end and relist a bunch of older listings just to get a lot of activity flowing through the store. And usually within a day or two, sales start to pick up back to where they were before. So it's really not too bad. That's just what you need to do. But you may want to experiment with not using vacation mode and just adjusting your handling time if it's a shorter trip and see if that makes a difference. But personally, I just use vacation mode and it's okay.
Hey, Justin, thank you for your content. It's always great to watch your videos.
You're welcome.
My question is, I've had quite a few returns lately that were broken in transit, and I am totally confused about how to try to get something back from USPS on those broken items. I typically ship through USPS Ground Advantage, and I'm not sure how to file a claim. And I know that it's probably very simple, but I did try it with a recent transaction, and it was super confusing. Do you have any tips on how to make it a little easier?
Sure, Romy. Thanks for sending that question along. You're right. It is pretty easy. It can be a little overwhelming. The post office, I don't know, it's not confusing necessarily, but it maybe is not as straightforward as it probably could be. They're probably putting up a little bit of a barrier for people to enter in an insurance claim. They make you work for it, basically, and I guess that makes sense because they would prefer that you didn't submit any insurance claims, so they do make you work for it a little bit, but we can walk through the process. It's really not all that bad. There's a couple of things that they're going to ask you for that you need to provide as a part of that. Most of it is pretty easy to get a hold of and you already have already, so they're going to ask for things like the tracking or label number, the proof of insurance. So if you're shipping through Ground Advantage, that is proof enough because it comes with insurance built in. Proof of value, documentation showing the item's value at the time of mailing. So that's just like your list price. So you can use your eBay listing as proof of value for that. You also need to provide proof of damage, which is probably the most difficult thing to get. It does require that you have your buyer send you pictures of the damage, but that should already be the case if they are opening up a return, because eBay does require that they send pictures as a part of opening up that return. But you do need to download those pictures and upload them into the insurance claim form on the post office website. You also need the mailing address of your buyer, and that's also can be found as a part of your order details on eBay. You just fill out all that information, all the required information that I just walked through, and submit it, and then you basically wait, and it takes a long time, usually many months, I would say, before you actually will get anything, but soon enough, as long as everything checks out, they will mail you a check in the mail for the insurance amount, and you're good to go. Coming in at number 2, Nintendo 3DS. This had a 16 gigabyte card in it, so I was able to charge a little bit more. It came from a consignment deal that I'm doing. I don't normally do consignment deals, but helping a friend out on this one. Second best flip of the week, $103.53. That's $96.54 plus $6.99 in shipping. The net return for the second best flip was $90.68. I'm going to split that net return down the middle with my friend, so I made $45 on this one technically. But still, really good flip. Nintendo 3DS. This thing was about 15 years old, 14 years old, I think, and still sells for really good money. So keep an eye out for vintage, not quite vintage, but older Nintendo consoles like this, handheld consoles. All of them do really well. I did have to buy a charger for it. That reminds me, I need to associate that. Pop into my ledger here. You'll see I have a charger for the 3DS. I spent $10.37. I can just find that 3DS sale here now and associate it with it, and then I pop back into it. And you can see there that expense applied there, $10.37, which dropped my net return down to $80.31. So technically $80.31, and I'll split that with my friend. But it's kind of nifty that you can associate a ledger entry like that with a product. That way, when you do have to buy something to get to be able to sell it. In this case, I didn't have the charger, so I bought the charger, was able to associate it with it, and just have all that data together in one place. That leaves us with number 1, this Nikon lens. This came from a bulk buy as well, so I've got $8 into it. It sold, look at that, 19 minutes. I thought I underpriced it, but I checked, and it looked okay. It looked like I priced it, on the lower end of the range, but not super low. $134.81 in 19 minutes. Net return, $104.54 for the best flip of the week. Lenses can be really good of all ages. Older lenses can do well. Newer lenses can do really well. The big thing you want to look for is mold underneath the glass. And so sometimes you will see kind of little speckles under the glass. You'll think they might be dirt. You'll try to wipe them off, but you can't. That usually means it's mold growing underneath the glass. And they will still sell, but usually they will sell for less. So make sure yours doesn't have mold, or if it does, that you're disclosing that and dropping the price accordingly. This one was very clean, good to go. That's probably why it sold so quickly. 19 minutes, $104.54 for the best flip of the week. One of the most crucial things you can do for your reselling business is keep accurate records. With the IRS expected to lower the income threshold for eBay reporting from $20,000 to $5,000 next year, this becomes even more important. So that means if you exceed $5,000 in gross sales this year, eBay will report that as income to the IRS for you. This means you need to be tracking your reselling expenses closely to reduce your taxable income effectively. If you enjoyed these videos and want to support the channel, Flipwise is a tool I built specifically specifically to help resellers like me and you track those expenses automatically. By using Flipwise, not only are you getting a powerful tool to automate your eBay reselling business and simplify tax time, but you're also helping to support the channel and ensure that I can keep making videos like this one. Flipwise automates your record keeping by importing all of your active listings and sold items going back 2 years. If you're behind on record keeping, Flipwise makes it easy to catch up in no time. And while it's focused on eBay, Flipwise also lets you manually record sales from other marketplaces like Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, Poshmark, and even local sales. It also provides unique insights into your reselling business, such as which sourcing locations are performing best, your best and worst sales, and metrics like ROI and net profit margin. You can also track business expenses like shipping supplies, subscription fees, and other tax-deductible expenses. Flipwise is free to use for new sellers with small stores and for everyone else. Check the description below for a promo code to get 20% off your first month. As always, thank you so much for your support.